Ladies and gentlemen, the title of our discourse is Get Up and Make It Happen. But I assure you, it encompasses far more than mere physical action or worldly striving. We are here to delve into the profound truth of your being, to uncover the limitless power that resides within you, waiting to be awakened and expressed. You see, my dear friends, when I say get up, I am not merely referring to the act of rising from your bed or your chair. No, I am speaking of a far more significant awakening, the rousing of your divine inner self. Is self, this I am, is the God within you, the very essence of creation itself. And when I urge you to make it happen, I am not speaking of forceful action in the world of Caesar, but of the divine act of creation that is your birthright and your true nature. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All that you perceive, all that you experience, all that you call life is but an outpicturing of your consciousness. The world you see is a mirror, reflecting back to you the contents of your own mind. This is why the great wisdom traditions have always taught as within, so without. Now you might be thinking, but Neville, if my consciousness creates my reality, why is my life not as I desire it to be? Why do I face struggles and hardships? The answer, my friends, lies in your habitual thoughts and feelings, in the state of consciousness you typically occupy. You see, most people live their lives reacting to circumstances, allowing external events to dictate their internal state. But this is a reversal of the true order of creation. To truly get up and make it happen, you must realize that creation moves from within out. Your inner world is the cause. The outer world is the effect. Your job is not to manipulate effects, but to change the cause, your state of consciousness. When you change your concept of self, when you alter your habitual thoughts and feelings, the outer world has no choice but to conform to this new pattern. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this point. There was once a man who struggled financially for years. He worked hard. He tried every strategy he could think of, but nothing seemed to improve his situation. Then one day he came across this teaching. He realized that his constant thoughts of lack, his feelings of unworthiness, his belief in the difficulty of making money, these were the very things creating his financial reality. So he decided to change his consciousness. Every night before sleep, and every morning upon waking, he would imagine himself as a successful, wealthy individual. He would feel the joy of financial abundance, the security of a substantial bank account, the freedom to live as he chose. He persisted in this practice, refusing to be swayed by the evidence of his physical senses. At first, nothing seemed to change in his outer world, but he remained faithful to his imaginal act. Then gradually things began to shift. New opportunities arose. His business began to thrive. Unexpected sums of money came his way. Within a year, his financial situation had transformed completely. You see, he didn't make it happen through external action alone. He made it happen by changing the cause, his consciousness. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of get up and make it happen. It is about rising to the awareness of your true self, your divine nature, and then creating from that elevated state. It's about recognizing that you are not a helpless victim of circumstances, but the very author of your life story. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. How exactly do you change your consciousness? How do you truly get up to that higher level of awareness? The key lies in your wonderful human imagination. Your imagination is not some idle fancy, not mere daydreaming. Your imagination is nothing less than God in action within you. When I speak of imagination, I'm not referring to wild flights of fancy or unrealistic pipe dreams. I am speaking of the controlled and deliberate use of your imaginative faculty to impress upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. This is the true meaning of prayer. Prayer is not begging an external deity for favors. Prayer is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To pray effectively, to truly make it happen, you must enter into the state of consciousness of your wish fulfilled. You must experience in your imagination the joy, the satisfaction, the gratitude you would feel if your desire were already a physical fact. You must live from the end, occupying the state of the wish fulfilled here and now in your imagination. Let me give you a simple technique to apply this principle. Tonight, as you lie in your bed, close your eyes and imagine a scene that would imply the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all your senses. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the textures. Most importantly, feel the emotions you would feel if this scene were actually happening. For instance, if your desire is for a loving relationship, imagine yourself with your ideal partner. Feel their hand in yours. Hear their loving words. Experience the joy of shared laughter. Feel the deep satisfaction of being in a fulfilling relationship. Fall asleep in this state, carrying this feeling with you into your slumber. You see, my friends, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. By impressing these imaginal scenes upon your subconscious, you are planting the seeds of your future reality. You are literally programming your subconscious to bring about the conditions that match your imaginal experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this just fantasy? Isn't this just escapism? I assure you, it is not. This is the most practical and effective way to create change in your life. Remember, the outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. By changing your inner state through deliberate imagination, you set in motion the forces that will rearrange the outer world to match your new self-concept. Let me share with you another principle that is crucial to truly getting up and making it happen. It is the principle of persistence. You see, most people give up too easily. They may try to imagine their desire for a night or two, and when they don't see immediate results, they conclude that it doesn't work. But remember, you are dealing with your subconscious mind with deeply ingrained patterns of thought and belief. These patterns were not formed overnight, and they will not be changed overnight. Persistence is key. You must persist in your new assumption, in your new self-concept, regardless of any contradictory evidence presented by your senses. This is what it means to have faith. Faith is not blind belief in something external. Faith is loyalty to your unseen reality, to the truth of your being that you have recognized in your imagination. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. He knows that the seed needs time to germinate, to take root, to grow beneath the surface before it breaks through into visible manifestation. Your imaginal acts are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Give them time to grow. Water them with your attention and your belief. Trust in the law of growth, and in due season you will reap the harvest of your imagination. Now let's address another crucial aspect of getting up and making it happen. It's the concept of your self-talk, the habitual conversation you have with yourself. You see, my dear friends, you are always talking to yourself, always affirming certain truths about yourself and your world. But are you conscious of what you're affirming? Are you deliberately choosing the thoughts and self-concepts you're impressing upon your subconscious mind? Most people, I'm afraid, are not. They allow their self-talk to be dictated by past experiences, by limiting beliefs, by the opinions of others. They say things to themselves like, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, life is hard, money is... And then they wonder why their lives reflect these very limitations. To truly get up and make it happen, you must become aware of your self-talk and consciously choose the thoughts and affirmations that align with your desires. Instead of saying, I can't, say I can. Instead of it's too hard, say, I have what it takes. Instead of I'm not worthy, affirm I am deserving of all good things. Remember, these affirmations are not mere positive thinking or empty words. When you speak them with feeling, when you imbue them with the conviction of your imagination, you are literally reshaping your subconscious beliefs. You are reprogramming the deepest levels of your mind to create a new reality. Let's go further into this idea of self-concept. For it is at the very core of your ability to get up and make it happen. You see, my dear friends, your entire life experience is a reflection of your concept of self. Who do you believe yourself to be? What do you assume to be true about your abilities, your worth, your place in the world? These beliefs, these assumptions form the foundation upon which your entire reality is built. Many of you have been taught to think of yourself as a limited being, separate from the creative power of the universe. You've been told that you are a mere mortal subject to the whims of fate and circumstance. But I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that this is not the truth of your being. You are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that very power individualized as you. The I am within you, that sense of pure awareness of being itself, is nothing less than God. When you say I am, you are invoking the name of God, for that is the true name of the creative power of the universe. To truly get up and make it happen, you must claim your divine nature. You must dare to assume the feeling of being the person you want to be, of having the things you desire, of living the life you dream of. This is not arrogance or egotism. This is the humble acceptance of your true identity as a child of God, as an expression of the infinite creative power of the universe. Let me give you a practical exercise to help you shift your self-concept. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to write down a description of yourself as you would like to be. Be bold. Be specific. Write in the present tense, as if these things are already true. For example, I am confident and capable. I am successful in all my endeavors. I am financially abundant. I am in perfect health. I am surrounded by loving relationships. I'm living my dream life. Now, read this description aloud to yourself. Feel the truth of these statements. Allow yourself to experience the emotions that these statements evoke. Then carry this feeling with you as you drift off to sleep. You are planting these new self-concepts in the fertile soil of your subconscious. As you do this night after night, you will begin to notice a shift in your habitual thoughts and feelings. You'll find yourself naturally thinking and acting in alignment with this new self-concept. And as your inner world changes, your outer world will have no choice but to follow suit. Now let's address a common obstacle that many face when trying to get up and make it happen. It's the challenge of negative circumstances, of setbacks and disappointments. How do you maintain your new self-concept, your elevated state of consciousness, when the outer world seems to contradict your inner assumptions? The key, my friends, lies in understanding the law of reversibility. This law states that while feelings follow thoughts, in other words, if you persist in maintaining the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory circumstances, your thoughts and beliefs will eventually align with this feeling. This is where many falter. They allow present circumstances to dictate their inner state. But remember, circumstances are effects, not causes. They are reflections of past thoughts and feelings, not determinants of your future reality. Your job is to remain faithful to your imaginal act, to your new self-concept, regardless of what your senses tell you. When faced with seeming setbacks or contradictions, instead of reacting with disappointment or doubt, remind yourselves, this is an old manifestation. It is passing away. My new reality is already created in my imagination, and it's coming into manifestation now. Then immediately return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the satisfaction of already being the person you desire to be, of already having what you want to have. This, my dear friends, is the true test of your faith. Not blind belief in an external power, but unwavering loyalty to the truth you have recognized in your imagination. It is in these moments of seeming contradiction that you have the opportunity to prove the power of your consciousness, to demonstrate your understanding that imagination creates reality. Let's delve deeper into the concept of states of consciousness, for this is crucial to truly getting up and making it happen. You see, every experience you have, every circumstance in your life is the result of the state of consciousness you occupy. A state is a mindset, a collection of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that define your perception of reality. Most people move through different states unconsciously, reacting to external stimuli. They feel happy when good things happen and when bad things occur. They allow their state to be determined by circumstances. But you, my friends, have the power to choose your state consciously. Think of states of consciousness as rooms in a vast mansion. Each room represents a different state. A state of wealth, a state of poverty, a state of health, a state of sickness, a state of love, a state of loneliness. Your job is to choose which room you will occupy. And you do this through your imagination and your assumptions. When you genuinely desire to get up and make it happen, you must learn to occupy the state of consciousness that corresponds to your wish fulfilled. If you want wealth, you must learn to think, feel, and act from the state of wealth. If you want love, you must occupy the state of being loved. How do you do this? By using your imagination to experience the feeling of being in that state. Close your eyes and imagine what it would feel like to be wealthy. How would you think? How would you carry yourself? What kinds of decisions would you make? What would your daily life look like? Immerse yourself in this state until it feels natural and familiar. Then, and this is crucial, you must persist in this state. You must make it your new home, your new normal. Even when your physical senses tell you otherwise, even when your bank account doesn't yet reflect your inner wealth, you must remain faithful to your new state. Remember, the outer world takes time to catch up with your inner shifts. There's often a time lag between the inner change and its outer manifestation. This is where most people falter. They return to their old state at the first sign of contradiction. But you, armed with this knowledge, will persist. You will remain in your chosen state, knowing that your outer world must, by law, conform to your inner state. Now, let's talk about action. Some of you might be wondering, Neville, if imagination creates reality, do I need to take action in the physical world? This is an excellent question, and the answer might surprise you. You see, action is important, but not in the way most people think. Most people believe they need to figure out all the steps to achieve their goal and then struggle and strive to complete those steps. But this approach often leads to frustration and burnout. Instead, when you truly get up and make it happen from the level of consciousness we're discussing, action becomes inspired. When you occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you'll find that ideas and opportunities naturally come to you. You feel compelled to take certain actions, not out of desperation or fear, but out of a sense of joyful inspiration. This inspired action is effortless. It feels right. It feels natural. You're not pushing against the current, but flowing with it. This is because by occupying the state of your wish fulfilled, you've aligned yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are no longer trying to make things happen through sheer force of will. Instead, you're allowing your desire to unfold naturally, taking inspired action as it arises. Let me give you an example. Suppose you desire a new job. Instead of frantically sending out hundreds of resumes and worrying about each application, you would first use your imagination to occupy the state of already having your ideal job. You would feel the satisfaction of doing work you love, the joy of a substantial income, the pride of contributing your talents. As you persist in this state, you might suddenly feel inspired to reach out to a former colleague. This conversation might lead to an introduction to someone who's looking for exactly the skills you possess. Or you might come across a job listing that perfectly matches your desires. The exact way it unfolds doesn't matter. What matters is that by occupying the state of already having your ideal job, you've aligned yourself with the circumstances that will bring it. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of getting up and making it happen. It's not about forcing things through sheer effort. It's about aligning your consciousness with your desire and then allowing the universe to bring it into manifestation through you. Now let's address another crucial aspect of this process. Detachment. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, if you're trying to manifest something, shouldn't you be intensely focused on it? But here's the paradox. To truly make it happen, you must let go of your attachment to the outcome. You see, attachment often comes from a place of lack. When you're overly attached to a specific outcome, it's usually because you believe you need that thing to be happy or complete. But remember, you are already complete. You are already one with the creative power of the universe. Your desire is not to fill a lack, but to express more of your innate abundance and creativity. When you detach from the outcome, you're demonstrating faith in the law of consciousness. You're saying, I planted the seed in my imagination. I trust in the law of growth. I know it will manifest in its perfect time and way. This detachment allows you to remain calm and centered, regardless of appearances. It prevents you from becoming anxious or doubtful, which could undermine your manifestations. In conclusion, my dear friends, to truly get up and make it happen, you must rise to the awareness of your true self as a divine creative being. You must use your imagination to occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, persisting in this new state regardless of external circumstances. Take inspired action as it arises, but remain detached from the specific outcome. Trust in the law of consciousness, knowing that as you maintain your new state, your outer world must conform to it. Remember, you are not a helpless victim of circumstances, but the author of your life story. The power to create the life you desire lies within you, in your wonderful human imagination. Now go forth and create consciously, for the world is waiting for you to express your divine nature and make it happen. My dear friends, the theme of our discourse is thus: you lack focus, not potential. Let these words sink deep into your consciousness, for they hold the key to unlocking the infinite power that resides within you. Many of you come here tonight feeling trapped, limited, or unfulfilled. You look at your lives and wonder, is this all there is? You compare yourselves to others who seem to have achieved more, accomplished greater things, or found deeper satisfaction. And in doing so, you fall into the trap of believing that you somehow lack the potential. But I say to you with absolute certainty that this belief is nothing more than an illusion. It is a veil cast over your eyes by the world of appearances, obscuring the truth of your divine nature. For you see, my dear friends, you are not merely human beings having a spiritual experience. You are spiritual beings having a human experience. And as such, your potential is as vast and limitless as the infinite mind of God itself. The great secret, the transformative truth that I wish to impart to you tonight is this: your problem is not a lack of potential. Your problem is a lack of focus. For it is through the power of focused imagination that we shape our reality, that we bring forth our desires from the realm of possibility into the world of physical manifestation. Consider for a moment the nature of your own consciousness. Is it not true that whatever you hold in your mind, whatever you focus your attention upon, becomes your reality? When you dwell on thoughts of lack, you not experience lack in your life. When you focus on feelings of inadequacy, does not the world reflect that inadequacy back to you? But equally, when you direct your mind towards thoughts of abundance, does not abundance begin to flow into your life? When you focus on feelings of love and joy, does not the world become a more loving and joyous place? This, my friends, is the law by which all creation operates. It is the principle that underlies all manifestation. Imagination is the very fabric of reality. It is, as William Blake so beautifully expressed, the divine body in every man. When you imagine, you are literally tapping into the creative power of the universe itself. You are engaging in the same process by which God created the world. For what is God, if not the eternal dreamer, forever imagining new forms and experiences into existence? But here is where so many of you falter. You allow your imagination to run wild with fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. You focus on what you lack, on what you fear, on what you believe to be impossible. And in doing so, you use the very power that could liberate you to further ensnare yourself. The solution, the path to freedom and fulfillment, lies in learning to focus your imagination. It lies in disciplining your mind to dwell not on what is, but on what could be. Not on your current limitations, but on your infinite potential. Not on your fears, but on your deepest desires. Then let's share with you a fundamental truth. The world you see around you, the circumstances of your life, are nothing more than our pictured imagination. They are the result of where you have been placing your focus, consciously or unconsciously, up until this very moment. If you find yourself dissatisfied with your current reality, know that you have the power to change it. Not through effort or struggle in the outer world, but through a shift in your inner focus. For the outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state of being. To those who would protest, saying, "But Neville, I have tried to imagine better things for myself. I have tried to focus on what I want, and yet nothing has changed. I say this: your failure is not in your ability to imagine, but in your ability to persist in that imagination. For you see, the creative power of imagination operates by a principle of gestation. Just as a seed planted in the ground does not immediately spring forth as a fully grown tree, so too must your imagined reality gestate in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind before it can manifest in your outer world. This is where focus becomes crucial. It is not enough to imagine your desire once or twice and then return to your habitual patterns of thought and feeling. You must learn to dwell in the state of your fulfilled desire. You must make your imagined reality more real to you than the world of appearances that surrounds you. How, you may ask, can one accomplish this? The answer lies in the practice of what I call the law of assumption. To bring about the fulfillment of your desires, you must assume the feeling of their fulfillment now. You must live from the end, experiencing in your imagination the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment that would be yours if your desire were already realized. This, my friends, is the true meaning of faith. It is not a blind belief in something outside of yourself. It is the absolute conviction in the reality of your imagined state. It is the unwavering focus on the truth of your desire, even when all outer appearances seem to contradict it. Let me give you an example to illustrate this principle. Suppose you desire financial abundance. The common approach would be to focus on the lack of money in your current reality, to worry about bills, to stress about how to make ends meet. But this focus only serves to perpetuate the very state you wish to escape. Instead, I urge you to shift your focus. Imagine what it would feel like to have all the money you desire. Feel the sense of ease, of freedom, of generosity that would be yours in that state. Don't just think about it. Experience it. Make it so real in your imagination that you can feel the crisp bills in your hands. Hear the sound of coins clinking in your pockets. See the abundant balance in your bank account. Main crucial part. Maintain this focus. Return to this imagined state again and again, especially when the outer world tries to pull you back into the old patterns of lack and limitation. For it is through this persistent focus, this unwavering assumption of the wish fulfilled, that you impress your desire upon the subconscious mind. The subconscious, my friends, is the true secret of creating reality. It is the fertile soil in which the seeds of your imagination take root and grow. It knows no limitations, no impossibilities. Whatever is impressed upon it must, by the very law of your being, be expressed in your outer world. But remember, the subconscious does not respond to occasional, half-hearted impressions. It responds to dominance, to the thoughts and feelings that you persistently entertain. This is why focus is so crucial. It's through focused, persistent imagination that you dominate the subconscious. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, this sounds like mere fantasy. How can simply imagining something make it real? To this I say, look around you. Everything you see, every invention, every institution, every work of art began as an idea in someone's imagination. The clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, the very building within. All of these were once mere figments of someone's imagination before they became physical realities. You see, imagination is not fantasy. It is the very substance of reality. The world of imagination, as Blake said, is the world of eternity. It is the divine, eternal realm from which all things proceed. When you imagine, you are literally tapping into the creative power of the universe itself. But here's where many of you stumble. You allow the so-called facts of your current reality to dictate what you believe is possible. You look at your bank account, your relationships, your circumstances, and you say, this is reality. This is what's possible for me. But I say to you, these are not facts. They are simply the effects of your past focusing. The only true fact in this universe is that all things are possible to the one who believes. And belief, true belief, is nothing more than focused imagination. When you can imagine a state so clearly, so persistently, that it becomes more real to you than your present circumstances, then you have truly believed. And when you have truly believed, you have set in motion the forces that will bring about the manifestation of your desire. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of the biblical injunction to pray without ceasing. Prayer is not begging or beseeching an external God. Prayer is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the assumption of the state of consciousness that would be yours if your desire were already realized. And to pray without ceasing means to maintain this state, to focus on it persistently until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. Now, I know that for many of you, this level of focused imagination seems difficult, perhaps even impossible. You are so accustomed to reacting to your outer world, to letting your thoughts and feelings be dictated by circumstances, that the idea of consciously choosing and maintaining a state of consciousness seems foreign. But I assure you, it is not only possible, but it is your natural state. It is the way you were meant to live. The difficulty you experience is simply the result of habit, of years or even lifetimes of misdirected focus. But habits can be changed. Focus can be redirected. And as you do so, you will discover a power within you that you never knew existed. Let me share with you a technique that I have found to be immensely powerful in developing this focused imagination. I call it the art of revision. At the end of each day, before you sleep, take a few moments to review the events of your day. But here's the crucial part. Don't simply recall what happened. Instead, revise those events in your imagination to align with your desires. Did you have a difficult conversation with a colleague? Revise it. Imagine the conversation going exactly as you would have wished. Feel the harmony, the mutual understanding, the positive outcome. Did you receive news that seemed to contradict your desires? Revise it. Imagine receiving news that perfectly aligns with your wishes. Feel the joy, the excitement, the sense of fulfillment. As you practice this technique, you will begin to realize a profound truth. The past is not fixed. It is not immutable. The past, like the present and the future, exist only in your imagination. And what exists in imagination can be changed by imagination. By revising the events of your day, you are literally rewriting your past, and in doing so, altering the trajectory of your future. But revision is not merely about changing specific events. It's about changing your entire concept of self. For you see, my friends, your concept of self is the foundation upon which your entire reality is built. Change your concept of self, and you change everything. Most of you have a concept of self that is based on your past experiences, on the opinions of others, on the limitations you've accepted as truth. But I say to you, this concept of self is nothing more than a habit of thought. It is not your true self. Your true self is the God within you, the infinite creative power that can assume any state, any concept, any identity it chooses. So I urge you, revise not just the events of your day, but your entire concept of self. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel what it would feel like to be that person. Experience the world from that state of consciousness. Do this persistently with unwavering focus. And you will be amazed at how quickly your outer world begins to reflect this new concept of self. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, what about action? Surely we need to do something in the outer world to bring about our desires. And to this I say, action is necessary, but it is not the cause of your manifestation. Action is the effect. When you have truly assumed the state of consciousness of your wish fulfilled, when you have focused your imagination with such intensity that you are living from the end, appropriate action will flow naturally and effortlessly from that state. You see, the outer world is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting back to you your own concepts, your own focused imagination. Change the inner, and the outer must change in response. This is the law. This is the way creation works. First in imagination, then in reality. But let me warn you, this work of focused imagination is not always easy. It requires discipline. It requires persistence. There will be times when the outer world seems to contradict your inner assumptions, when circumstances appear to deny the truth of your imagined state. These are the moments that test your faith, that challenge your focus. It is in these moments that you must redouble your efforts. When the world says no, you must say yes with even greater conviction. When circumstances seem to deny your assumption, you must affirm it with even greater intensity. For it is through this unwavering focus, this persistence in the face of apparent failure, that you impress your desire upon the subconscious mind with sufficient force to bring about its manifestation. Remember, my friends, the time it takes for your desire to manifest in the outer world is in direct proportion to the naturalness of your feeling. If you can make your imagined state feel natural to you, if you can dwell in it with ease and familiarity, it will manifest quickly. But if it feels unnatural, if you struggle to maintain the feeling, then the manifestation will be delayed. This is why it's so important to choose your desire wisely. Don't focus on what you think you should want or what others tell you to want. Focus on what truly resonates with your deepest self. For when your desire aligns with your true nature, maintaining the feeling of its fulfillment becomes effortless. It feels natural because it is natural. It is the true expression of who you really are. Now, let me address a question that often arises when I speak of these principles. Many ask, but Neville, what about other people? Can we use this power to change others or to make them do what we want? There's no other. In the absolute sense, there's only one consciousness, individualized in what appear to be separate beings. When you change your concept of another person, when you revise your interactions with them in your imagination, you are not manipulating them. You are simply awakening to a new aspect of yourself. For every person in your world is yourself pushed out. They are playing the part that your concept of them has assigned. Change the concept. This understanding liberates you from the need to change others through external means. It frees you from blame, from resentment, from the feeling of being a victim of circumstances or of other people's actions. But when you truly grasp that your outer world is simply your inner world outpictured, you realize that you have the power to change anything and everything by changing yourself. But with this power comes responsibility. For as you begin to grasp the creative power of your focused imagination, you must also realize that you are responsible for everything in your life. Every circumstance, every relationship, every experience is the result of your own imaginal acts. This can be a sobering realization, but it is also incredibly empowering. For if you are the creator of your reality, then you have the power to recreate it in any way you choose. So I urge you, my dear friends, to use this power wisely. Use it to create a life of joy, of abundance, of love. Use it to uplift not only yourself, but all of humanity. For as you raise your own consciousness, you raise the consciousness of the entire world. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is not a place you go to, but a state you enter. And you enter it through the portal of your focused imagination. Heaven is simply the realization of your heart's desires. It is the state of consciousness in which all your wishes are fulfilled. You do not need to die to enter this kingdom. You do not need to wait for some future time. You can enter it now, in this very moment, by shifting your focus from what is to what could be, from your current limitations to your infinite potential. Imagine, if you will, that you are already the person you wish to be. Feel the feelings you would feel if all your desires were fulfilled. Experience the joy, the gratitude, the sense of wonder that would be yours in that state. Do this not once, not twice, but constantly. Make it your habitual state of consciousness. As you do this, you will begin to notice changes in your outer world. At first, they may be small, a kind word from a stranger, an unexpected opportunity, a moment of perfect synchronicity. But as you persist in your focused imagination, as you maintain your assumption of the wish fulfilled, these changes will grow larger and more frequent. People will begin to treat you differently. Opportunities will seem to fall into your lap. Circumstances will align in ways that seem miraculous. And all of this will happen not because the outer world has changed, but because you have changed. You have shifted your consciousness. And in doing so, you have shifted your entire reality. But remember, my friends, this is not about escaping reality. It's about creating reality. It's about recognizing your power as a creative being and using that power consciously and deliberately. It's about taking responsibility for your life and shaping it according to your highest vision. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the operant power in your universe. You are the author of your life story. And with focused imagination, you can write any story you choose. So I challenge you, starting from this moment, to become more aware of where you are placing your focus. Notice the thoughts you habitually think, the feelings you consistently feel. Are they aligned with your desires? Are they perpetuating states you wish to move beyond? If you find that your habitual thoughts and feelings are not serving you, change them. Use your imagination to create new thought patterns, new emotional states. Imagine the best possible outcome in every situation. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled in every moment. This, my dear friends, is the practice of living from the end. It is the art of making your desired future so real, so vivid in your imagination that it becomes your present reality. It is the secret to unlocking your infinite potential. As you leave here tonight, I want you to remember this. You are not lacking in potential. You are lacking in focus. Your potential is as vast as the universe itself, as infinite as the mind of God. But that potential remains dormant until you awaken it through the power of your focused imagination. So focus, my friends. Focus with all the intensity you can muster. Focus on your desires, on your goals, on the person you wish to become. Make them so real in your imagination that you can taste them, touch them, feel them. Let them become more real to you than the world of appearances that surround you. And as you do this, know that you're engaging in the highest form of prayer. You are communing with the divine creative power within you. You are aligning yourself with the very force that creates worlds. Do not be discouraged if results do not appear immediately in the outer world. Remember, there is often a time lag between your imaginal act and its physical manifestation. This is the season of growth, the period of gestation. During this time, you must hold fast to your assumption. You must persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when all outer evidence seems to contradict it. For it is your persistence, your unwavering focus, that impresses your desire upon the subconscious mind with sufficient intensity to bring about its manifestation. It is your ability to maintain your chosen state of consciousness, regardless of outer circumstances, that determines the speed and certainty of your manifestation. As you go forth from this place, I urge you to make this practice of focused imagination the central pillar of your life. Let it inform every thought, every action, every moment of your day. Wake in the morning with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Go through your day maintaining that feeling. Fall asleep at night still dwelling in the state of your realized desire. Do this, and you will set in motion forces beyond your current comprehension. You will align yourself with the creative power of the universe. You will tap into potentials you never knew you possessed. Remember, my dear friends, the world is your mirror. It can only reflect back to you your own concepts, your own focused imagination. So make sure that what you're putting out is what you want to receive back. Focus on love, and you will experience a world filled with love. Focus on abundance, and you will live in a world of plenty. Focus on joy, and your life will become a celebration. The choice is yours. The power is yours. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. You are limited only by your ability to imagine and your willingness to persist in that imagination. I say to you one final time, you do not lack potential. You lack focus. Sharpen your focus, direct your imagination, persist in your assumption of the wish fulfilled, and you will unlock potentials within yourself that will astound you. You will create a life beyond your wildest dreams, for you are not merely human. You are divine. You are a creative force personified. You are God in action, imagination in motion. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, and watch as miracles unfold in your life. Go now and create the life you desire. Go now and fulfill your divine potential. Go now and remember always, to imagine is to create, to focus is to manifest, to persist is to achieve. Thank you, my friends. May your imagination be fertile, your focus unwavering, and your manifestation swift and joyous. Good night, and God bless you all. As we conclude this transformative evening, I want to leave you with a final thought. A seed to plant in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Everything you've heard tonight, every principle I have shared, Every technique I have taught, all of it comes down to one fundamental truth. You are the creator of your reality. This is not a metaphor. It is not a feel-good affirmation. It is the literal, absolute truth of your existence. Every circumstance in your life, every relationship, every experience is the result of your focused imagination. You've created it all, whether consciously or unconsciously. And if you have the power to create, you have the power to recreate. You have the power to reimagine, to refocus, to reshape every aspect of your life. This is the promise and the challenge that lies before you. As you step out into the night, as you return to your homes and your daily lives, I urge you to carry this truth with you. Let it infuse every moment of your day. Let it guide every thought, every word, every action. This tool is your creation. And if you can create it, you can uncreate it, you can reimagine it. You can transform it through the power of your focused imagination. When opportunities arise, recognize the manifestations of your own creative power. They are the universe responding to your focused imagination, bringing into your experience the people, circumstances, and events that align with your assumed state. And when doubts creep in, when the old habits of thought try to reassert themselves, stand firm in your new understanding. Remind yourself, I am the operant power in my universe. I am the author of my life story. I have the power to rewrite any aspect of my life that does not serve my highest good. My dear friends, you stand at the threshold of a new life, a life of conscious creation, a life of deliberate manifestation, a life where your outer world perfectly reflects your inner state of being. The key to this new life is focus, sharp, unwavering, persistent focus on the states you wish to embody, on the life you wish to create. It's not enough to dabble in these principles, to practice them occasionally or half-heartedly. You must make them the foundation of your existence. The lens. As you do this, you will begin to experience what can only be described as miracles. Synchronicities will abound. Desires will manifest with startling speed and precision. You will find yourself living in a world that seems tailor-made for your joy and fulfillment. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. As you awaken to your creative power, you also awaken to your role as a co-creator of our shared reality. Your thoughts, your imaginal acts, don't just affect your personal experience. They ripple out into the collective consciousness, shaping the world we all inhabit. So I urge you, use this power wisely. Use it to create not just personal abundance, but collective prosperity. Use it to foster not just individual happiness, but universal joy. Use it to manifest not just your own dreams, but a better world for all. For in truth, there's no separation. There's no you and other. There's only the one consciousness expressing itself through seemingly individual forms. As you raise your own consciousness, you raise the consciousness of all humanity. As you fulfill your own potential, you help all of humanity fulfill its potential. This, my friends, is the ultimate purpose of the principles I've shared with you tonight. Yes, they can bring you personal success, wealth, love, and all manner of worldly achievements. But more than that, they can awaken you to your true nature as a divine creative being. They can restore you to your rightful place as a conscious co-creator of reality. So go forth from this place with a new understanding of who you are and what you're capable of. Go forth with the knowledge that you lack nothing, that all the power of the universe resides within you, waiting to be awakened through your focused imagination. Remember, the only limits that exist are those you accept in your own mind. The only barriers to your success are those you create through your own habitual thinking. Break free from these self-imposed limitations. Shatter these illusory barriers. Claim your birthright as a limitless divine being. Focus your imagination on the highest, the best you can conceive. Then go even beyond that. For your potential is truly infinite. Your capacity for growth, for achievement, for love, for joy knows no bounds. You are not here to live a life of quiet desperation. You are not here to simply survive, to merely get by. You are here to thrive, to create, to express the full magnificence of your divine nature. So dream big, my friends. Imagine boldly, focus intensely, persist relentlessly. For in doing so, you are fulfilling your divine purpose. You are bringing heaven to earth. You are creating the life you were always meant to live. And know that as you do this work, as you embark on this journey of conscious creation, you do not walk alone. The entire universe conspires to support you. All of creation aligns to manifest your focused imagination. You are supported. You are guided. You are loved beyond measure. So go now with my blessings and with the full power of your own divinity. Go and create miracles. Go and live the life of your dreams. Go and fulfill your infinite potential.
My friends, I urge you to stop the endless struggle, to stop the frantic reaching, the desperate affirming, the ceaseless mental gymnastics. Stop trying so hard to manifest, because it is already yours. You have heard me say many times that imagining creates reality. And yet, in your effort to force the world to bend to your will, you are demonstrating only one thing. You do not truly believe it is done. You are trying to convince yourself, to persuade the world, to affirm and affirm again, because somewhere within you, there still exists the subtle lie. It has not happened yet, but I say unto you, creation is finished. What you desire is already a reality, not in some distant tomorrow, but now, within the eternal present of imagination. There is no effort in assuming a truth that you know with conviction. There is no resistance in wearing a garment that already fits. You are not becoming, you are being, and being is effortless. It simply is. Consider this: if you had already received your desire, would you still be working to manifest it? If the $1 million was already in your bank account, would you sit and chant about becoming wealthy? If your body was already healed, would you strain to believe in healing? No. You would walk differently, speak differently, and most importantly, you would feel differently, not because you are trying to make something happen, but because you know it already has. That inner knowing is the key. That sacred inner ease is the sign that you have accepted the truth of your desire. You are not separate from what you seek. It is you who gives life to all things, by accepting them as real in consciousness. Imagination is not a tool you use to acquire. It is the womb of creation itself. It is the beginning and the end. You imagine a thing, and in that moment it is born in the unseen. If you persist in that assumption, without effort, but with certainty, the outer world conforms. And so I say, cease your striving. Cease your pleading with the universe. The universe does not need your begging. It needs your belief. It needs your quiet confidence. The feeling of I have it is infinitely more powerful than the thought of I want it. Desire is beautiful, but it must give way to fulfillment. You cannot desire and receive simultaneously. To receive, you must rest in the assumption that you already have. There is no power in noise. The power is in silence, in stillness, in the sacred moment of inner agreement, where you say to yourself, not loudly, not forcefully, but surely, it is done. That is the moment creation is complete. That is when the seed is sown. And like any seed, it does not bloom the moment it touches the soil, but it is alive. It is inevitable. And you no longer question whether the flower will bloom. You know it will. In the silence of your own being, feel the truth of your desire fulfilled. Not as hope, not as someday, but now. Feel the thrill of it. Feel the satisfaction of it. Feel the release that comes when striving ends. That is how manifestation works. That is the law. You do not need to earn your desire. It is not a reward, it is a reflection. The outer world is nothing but a mirror held up to your inner state. If you are waiting for the world to show you signs before you believe, then you are chasing shadows. But if you dare to believe before seeing, the world must conform. You see, faith is not blind. Faith is imaginative sight. Faith is the ability to see what is not yet visible, to feel what has not yet materialized, to dwell in a state that defies the senses, but aligns with the truth of your being. And from that inner state, the world takes shape. I tell you, stop trying so hard. Let go of the notion that you must work to bring it about. The law does not require toil. It requires surrender. Surrender to the assumption. Rest in the state. Become so absorbed in the feeling of the wish fulfilled that you forget the former state of wanting. Have you not noticed that your greatest manifestations often come when you stop thinking about them, when you finally give up, not in defeat, but in trust? That's because letting go is not giving up. Letting go is letting in. Letting go of effort makes room for experience. Do not misinterpret the silence of the world as absence of response. When the seed is planted, the soil says nothing, but within, life is stirring. The manifestation is not in the doing, it is in the being. Imagination is the only reality. It is not separate from the physical. It is the source of the physical. When you imagine vividly and feel naturally, you are impressing the subconscious mind with a truth it must express. The subconscious does not debate. It does not reason. It accepts what is impressed upon it and brings it into form. And so, you impress not through strain, but through belief, through repetition if needed, but never with desperation. The state must feel natural. That is the key. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes familiar, comfortable, inevitable. Let us take an example. Suppose you desire love. You want companionship. You think, I must script every day, visualize for hours, listen to affirmations all night. But I say to you, what would you do if your beloved were already beside you? How would you feel? What would you no longer feel? That is your answer. If the desire were already fulfilled, there would be no worry, no anxiety, no frantic effort. There would be peace, a quiet joy, a knowing smile. And that feeling, captured and sustained, is the act of creation. Now I do not say to never visualize or never affirm. These tools are beautiful, but they are not the power. They are the vehicle. The power lies in the state you enter. If you affirm from lack, you will prolong lack. If you visualize with desperation, you reinforce the gap. But if you affirm from knowing, if you visualize from joy, then you are in alignment. The key is not what you do, but where you do it from. From what state are you imagining? From what assumption are you affirming? From what feeling are you thinking? You cannot deceive the law. The law knows only states. You may say the right words, but if your inner conversation is still, I don't have it, then that is what is impressed upon the subconscious. And the subconscious, like fertile soil, will grow whatever is planted, be it doubt or faith. So again I tell you, stop trying so hard. Your very trying is a declaration that you do not yet have. Trying is the language of the unfulfilled. Being is the language of the fulfilled. Being is the language of the fulfilled. Let us instead be still and know. Be still and feel. In that stillness, a new identity can emerge, one in harmony with your desire. And when you become it inwardly, it must appear outwardly. You do not need to chase what is already yours. You need only receive it. And you receive by assuming the state of the receiver, by stepping into the self that already has. Imagination is the door. Feeling is the key. Assumption is the act. Faith is the foundation. I urge you to experiment, not with strain, but with simplicity. Tonight, before sleep, do not try to manifest. Simply feel as though you already have what you desire. Dwell in that mood. Let it become natural to you. Let it soothe you, warm you, embrace you. That is enough. The Father within you doeth the work, not your conscious effort, not your restless mind, but the deep inner movement of acceptance. You were not meant to live in ceaseless effort. You were meant to rest in being, to live in the awareness of it. It is done, to walk as one who already possesses. That is the secret of effortless manifestation. Remember, the world does not respond to your words. It responds to your state. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. And to be what you desire, you must feel it as natural. You must stop trying to manifest and begin living as though you already have. This is not imagination as escape. It is imagination as truth, as revelation, as God's gift to man, to see beyond appearances and call into being that which is not as though it were. Do not think you must convince the universe. The universe is yourself pushed out. It reflects not your effort, but your assumption. Speak inwardly to yourself in tones of victory, of love, of satisfaction. That inner conversation is the script the outer world follows. Your desire is not far. It is not lost. It is not withheld. It is present. It is finished. But you must claim it, not with fists clenched, but with open hands, not with noise, but with silence. The greatest power lies in quiet certainty. The world bows to the one who knows, not intellectually, but inwardly, that it is done. And so I leave you with this: cease your striving, and enter your fulfillment. Cease your trying, and live from the end. You are not here to make things happen. You are here to awaken to the truth that all things are already yours. In the moment you stop trying, you begin receiving. In the moment you stop reaching, you begin arriving. In the moment you stop desiring and start dwelling, the manifestation becomes inevitable. It is already yours. It has always been. All that remains is for you to see it, to feel it, and to be it. And the world will echo back the truth you now live. Let this awareness sink deep into your being. There is nothing more to chase, only something to become. And even that becoming is not a process of time. It is an instant of realization. The moment you realize that what you seek is already within you, you cease to seek. You shift. You relax. You no longer pray as a beggar, but as a knower. You no longer visualize to get, but to be. You no longer affirm to convince, but to express. That's the difference between striving and surrendering to the truth of your imagination. You are not far from your desire. You are never separate. It lives in you as you. It is your consciousness of having that gives it form. Therefore, your only true task is to become aware that it is already done. Do not be deceived by the outer world, for it is always a reflection of your past assumptions. If you look to it for proof, you will continue to delay your desire. But if you look within and rest in the unseen truth of your fulfilled wish, then the world must catch up. That is law. That is the promise. You are the operant power, not the world, not chance, not conditions. But you cannot operate the law while bound in effort, for the law is moved by your state, and your state is shaped by your feeling. If you feel lack, you perpetuate lack. If you feel fulfilled, you magnetize the experience of fulfillment. And fulfillment is a quiet thing. It doesn't boast or strain. It simply is. Think now of a moment in your life when something wonderful happened, not because you chased it, but because you knew it. You surrendered, and then suddenly it appeared. That ease is your clue. That flow is the natural rhythm of the universe. You were not pushing the current, you were in harmony with it. In the same way, your desires long to come into your life, not by force, but by flow, not by effort, but by surrender to the assumption that they are already here. So when you catch yourself trying, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, if it were already mine, how would I feel now? And then be that, feel that, live that, dwell in that. Let your inner world become more vivid than the outer. Let your imagination be the source of your truth, not your senses. Because the senses only report what was imagined yesterday. But your imagination holds the seed of tomorrow. It is not about doing more. It is about believing more. It is not about trying harder. It is about letting go more. And when you let go, you let God. When you rest, the divine intelligence within you moves. When you trust, your desire finds its path to you, often in ways you could never plan. And so I ask you, gently but firmly, to stop trying so hard. Stop the endless asking. Stop the anxious waiting. Stop the internal wrestling. Instead, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Enter into the state of the one who already has. Walk as that person. Speak as that person. Sleep as that person. Pray as that person. Pray as that person. And let the rest unfold as it must. Let imagination be your only effort. And even that must be a joyful one. Because the kingdom of heaven is within you, not in toil, but in knowing. Not in effort, but in stillness. Not in waiting, but in being. And it is from this stillness, this divine certainty, that miracles arise. Not as surprises, but as the most natural expression of your inner world. They come not to those who strain, but to those who allow. They appear not to the one demanding proof, but to the one living in proof, proof that lives in the inner conviction, the sacred assurance that all is well, that all is done, that all is yours. You see, manifestation is not about commanding the world to obey you. It's about remembering that the world already obeys you. It always has. But it obeys not your words, not your desperation, but your assumption, your deep inner state of belief. And belief does not scream. It does not need to convince. It quietly knows. When you accept that your imagination is the only reality, you begin to take your attention off the outer facts and place it firmly upon the inner vision. And in doing so, you discover that you are never waiting on anything outside you. The waiting dissolves. You realize you were never blocked, only distracted. You realize you were never denied, only doubting. You are not separate from what you desire. You are not beneath it. You are not chasing it. You are it. And in assuming that identity fully and naturally, you unlock the bridge of incidents that brings it forth effortlessly into your experience. Let it be easy. Let it be light. Stop demanding struggle. You have been conditioned to believe that effort equals value, that striving equals success. But the truth is, when it comes to manifestation, effort without inner conviction is futile. It is like planting seeds in dry soil, hoping they will bloom. But when you water your desire with assumption, when you nourish it with the feeling of fulfillment, when you let it rest in your heart as something already received, then the soil is fertile, the sun shines, and the bloom is inevitable. How do you know it is working? By the feeling of relief, by the release, by the calm that replaces craving, by the peace that follows your assumption. That is the true sign, not outer events, but inner rest. You are not manifesting things, you are manifesting states, and from those states, things arise. The wealth you seek is a state, the love you long for is a state, the health you desire is a state, and those states are yours for the taking the moment you stop trying and start assuming, the moment you stop begging and start being, the moment you stop waiting and start walking in the reality of your imagined world. There is nothing outside of you. You are the creative power, and this power does not require sweat, only surrender. Surrender not as defeat, but as divine trust. Surrender not to circumstances, but to your inner truth. And your inner truth is this: it is already yours. You do not have to wait for permission. You do not have to qualify. You do not need signs, symbols, or confirmation from the outer world. You only need to align your consciousness with the reality of your desire. You only need to feel it as natural. And the moment it feels natural to you, the moment it feels familiar and real within, it will begin to shape the world around you. You must stop measuring progress by what you see, for what you see is only the shadow of what you have believed. If you look to the mirror and see your past reflections, you will only reinforce more of the same. But if you close your eyes and see with the vision of imagination, you will call forth an entirely new reality. The moment you stop trying to make things happen and instead accept that they already have, the law begins to work without resistance, and it will always work in the most harmonious, effortless way. Do not concern yourself with the how. That is not your role. Your role is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled and live from it boldly, silently, joyfully. You are not here to force the world into compliance. You are here to move within, into alignment with your desired state. The outer world must then comply, because it is not separate from you. It is yourself made visible. It is your assumption in physical form. And that is why you must become gentle. You must become inwardly quiet. You must stop arguing with yourself about what is possible. You must stop bargaining with life. You must begin to accept the profound truth that you are the operant power and the source of all your experiences. When you know something is already yours, your demeanor changes. You speak differently. You carry yourself with confidence. You stop explaining. You stop asking. You stop looking around for confirmation. You know, and knowing is the end of seeking. Knowing is the end of trying. Knowing is the beginning of having. So I ask you to walk through the door of assumption. Walk through it with dignity, with simplicity, with grace. Sit down in the house of your fulfilled desire, as if you belong there, because you do, and you always have. The universe doesn't respond to pressure, it responds to power, and that power is your acceptance. The moment you accept your desire as fact, unseen though it may be, you ignite the law into action, not because you pushed it, but because you permitted it. There is no delay in the law, only in your assumption. When you assume the state, you collapse all time. You no longer ask when, you say now. You no longer ask how, you say it is done. You no longer strive to become, you awaken to the truth that you already are. In that awakening, all struggle dissolves. You are no longer at war with appearances. You are no longer reacting to what the senses report. You are acting from the deeper truth, the truth of imagination, the truth of consciousness. And from that truth, your world reshapes itself, not because you fought to change it, but because you changed your state of being. When you embody the version of yourself who already has the desire, you move differently. You speak with quiet authority, and you radiate a presence that is unmistakable. You no longer ask the world to validate you. You validate yourself through your inner knowing, and in doing so, you invite the world to reflect back your conviction. You begin to live in the end, and in living in the end, you create from the end, not as a wish, but as a fact, not as a dream, but as a decision. You step out of the realm of hoping and into the realm of being. And the moment you truly embody the feeling, the manifestation becomes inevitable, not because of effort, but because of alignment, not because of persistence in action, but because of persistence in assumption. Do not underestimate the power of simple silent knowing. It is more potent than all outward striving combined. One moment of deep, sincere assumption outweighs hours of effort made from a place of doubt. So become quiet. Close the doors to the outer world and enter the sanctuary of your imagination. Rest there, dwell there, and do so not with a sense of wanting, but with a sense of having. Feel it real, feel it complete. Let the feeling of already done become your dwelling place. You will begin to notice subtle changes. The world will shift. People will behave differently. Opportunities will arise. Circumstances will unfold to support the state you have assumed, not because you chase them, but because you aligned with them. You see, everything responds to you, but only when you stop reacting to it. You cannot serve two masters, desire and doubt. You cannot live in the end and constantly check the middle. You cannot say it is done while searching the horizon to see if it worked. Faith is the refusal to look back. Faith is the refusal to seek evidence before it has ripened. Faith is resting in the unseen, knowing it is more real than what is seen. And so I say again, stop trying so hard to manifest. Let go of the fight. Let go of the doubt. Let go of the need to control. Your only true power is your assumption. Your only true work is to feel it natural. And your only true state is the one you choose to occupy. Now, let this truth become your way of being. Not a technique you use when you feel lack, not a practice done only in desperation, but a living reality, a constant quiet alignment with your chosen self. Let the feeling of already having guide every step you take. Let it color your conversations, your thoughts, your dreams, your sleep. Let it become so normal to you that it would feel strange to be without it. That is how reality bends, through the silent dominance of inner certainty. Do not rush it. Do not demand it. You do not demand the seed to grow. You simply know it will. You water it with faith, nourish it with feeling, and you wait, not in anxiety, but in confidence. So too with your manifestations, they do not need to be pushed into being. They only need to be felt into form. Feel it again and again, until the feeling becomes a mood. The mood becomes a state, and the state becomes your identity. Then, without fanfare, without effort, the world begins to shift. And you won't be surprised because you've already lived it inwardly. To live as if the wish were fulfilled is not an act of fantasy, it is an act of truth. For everything you have ever manifested began not in the outer world, but in the unseen realm of assumption. Your world is not happening to you, it is happening through you, through your consciousness, through your beliefs, through your persistent inner conversations and moods. And so, give up the chase, give up the waiting. Stop asking, where is it? And instead say, it is here. I have it, I am it. Say it quietly, if you must. Whisper it in your heart, but mean it, feel it, and return to that feeling as often as you can, until it becomes automatic. When it becomes natural, it must become visible. When it feels real, it must become real. When you rest in the state externalizes. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to prove, nothing more to earn. You have always been the operant power. You have always had the key. And now you understand, the key is not in trying, it is in allowing. Let go of every story that says it's hard. Let go of every belief that says it's far. Let go of every identity that says you're not ready. And simply know it's already yours. And so, I leave you with this eternal truth. Stop trying so hard to manifest.
because it is already yours. The moment you accept this, the moment you embody the feeling that what you desire is already a living reality, the need to struggle vanishes. What once felt far suddenly feels near. What once seemed impossible now flows to you with grace. You are not waiting for your desire to arrive. It is waiting for you to assume it. It is waiting for you to let go of doubt, of effort, of striving, and simply become the one who already has. Walk in that knowing. Rest in that peace. Speak from that fulfillment. And watch how the world reshapes itself around your certainty. Remember, your assumption is the bridge. Your feeling is the magnet, and your imagination is the womb of creation. You need not chase, you need only align. You need not plead, you need only accept. It's already yours. It's always been. Now live from it, and let the world catch up.